So ending off session 2 on projects developed enterprise and infrastructure support programs, I want to introduce my speaker, talking about the journey of a waste picker to a successful entrepreneur. My name is Sbusiso Shange from Pinetown, Durban. I am the founder and MD of Spoomeister Plastic Recyclers, my apologies, which comprises 2 wash plant facilities situated in New Jersey, which is in the heart of Pinetown. Our wash plant facility pre-washes, washes, granulates and dries different grades of recyclable plastic products before they are sold for processing into the next stage of recycling. As a social entrepreneur, I strive to run an impact-driven operation, which in turn makes a difference socially, economically, and environmentally. Each month, we process approximately 100 tons of different recyclable post-consumer products, which are indirectly diverted from ending in landfill sites. Our organization is currently working with Polyco, who are project partners, in uplifting some disadvantaged communities around the greater Pinetown. And in this, we seek to educate. Somebody talked about education and awareness. So well done for you in doing that. And empower our communities about recycling and saving the environment as a whole. I am very passionate about the environment and everything to do with it. And it is a subject closest to my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shange, Spoomeister Plastic Recyclers. As he walks up, there's a song that says, Naile walk, Naile walk.
Good afternoon to everyone. Sure. I see a lot of serious faces. My story is very casual. It is a great honor. My name is Boo once again. It is a great honor to be your guest speaker today. And thanks to the organizers for putting me with the lineup like this here, just to come in and share my story with you. Thank you very much. One time I like Barack Obama. So my story is very casual, by the way. That's why I was saying I see a lot of serious faces here, and it's not good for what I'm about to say. I like Barack Obama, and he says one time, despite what the world thinks of him, his confidence, his swag, and everything. Every time he gets into a stage to make a speech, he gets very nervous. Very nervous. Now that gives me comfort. Great comfort. It's like when you are short and you see someone shorter than you. Okay, let's leave the short ones. Let's leave the short ones. Let's leave the short ones. I'm dark-skinned. When I see someone much darker than me, I say yes. I'm one upper than you. So it's something like that. So if you see some nervousness coming through, please bear with me. This is not my space, my comfort zone. I'm doing what I have to do, but this is not me. But when I see serious faces like this, I think even the Barack Obama motivation thing is not going to work for me today. I would like to share this story with you, and maybe before I go through with it, I will try to do a lot of fast forwards, because I won't be doing justice to the story if I don't start it 2 years prior the birth of the idea of a waste picker. Now, by the way, I've been asked to talk about the journey of being a waste picker to a successful entrepreneur. Successful? I'm not sure. Let's just keep it to an entrepreneur. So I want to start it 2 years prior the birth of the idea. That way it will help you understand how I came about and what was the reason. So I work for one of the biggest packaging companies in Africa. And out of respect for their name, out of respect, I won't mention their name, because despite the differences we had at the end, they still made a man out of a boy. So I'll forever be grateful for that. So I work for this company and I served with loyalty for over 10 years, and I get injured at work, and a nasty injury, a very nasty injury. And, I spent months, multiple surgeries, procedures. Luckily, the doctors are able to bring me back to life and regain full functionality of everything. Fast forward, the company lays me down on a 2-year incapacity leave, fair enough, just to recover. Fast forward again, 2 years is over, I come back to work. I get back to work, I'm demoted. Now you must understand, I was earning 100 Rand an hour, that's 16 years ago. I'm earning 100 Rand an hour as a technician, as a printing technician. I'm coming back, I'm offered 33 Rand an hour as an ink storeman. So for me, that was humiliation. So I just simply declined the offer and I resigned. Not a very calculated move. Not a very calculated move, I must say. I remember that night I got home to my girlfriend, then girlfriend, now my wife. I said to her, look, I've resigned and I've got no desire to look for another job. And furthermore, I think we might have to sell the car, because it really doesn't make sense to have a fancy car when you don't have a job. We're going to have to sell the car. She said, okay. She went away. A few minutes later, she came back. You see, I'm married to a very smart woman. But now and then she tries a smartness with me. And I make sure she doesn't get away with it. So she goes away, she comes back. A few minutes later, she says to me, I trust your leadership. And I respect your decision. No. No. Immediately when she says she trusts my leadership, I knew something was coming. I trust your leadership and I respect your decision for quitting the job. But do you mind sharing with me what is the next plan? That whole leadership thing and whole trust of decisions and all that there, it shouldn't have been there. We should have just got straight to the point. What is the next plan? But you see, she was playing reverse psychology with me. She wants to make me think, okay, no, she's got me. She's got my back. But at that point in time, I said, I'll figure it out. And during that 2 years that I spent at home through incapacity leave, I had a lot of time to think. All I wanted to do is I wanted to start a business that would have little or even no capital investment at all, with very, very minimum operational cost. So, because I anticipated what was going to happen. I could see the relationship wasn't going well with me and the company. So I was just trying to plan for the next life. And eventually it happened. So what happened was I identified recycling as that business. But now recycling is very broad. You still have to dissect it, more especially to fit the criteria of no capital cost and low operational cost. And waste picking was the only idea that came through at that point in time. Now, that's why I had to sell my then fancy car so that I can pay at least 6 months of my bond, or pay for the next 6 months, over and above, be able to buy a bakkie and have a little bit left, if possible, just to carry me over. So I think in that regard, it was calculated in that regard. And I did exactly that. So when I identified the waste picking, because literally I didn't need no capital investment into it. When I identified that, what I did was, I think it must have been about 2 months or so, or a month and a half later, I identified about 6 different suburbs and I identified scrap yards and panel beating shops. So what we would do when I go to the suburbs, I would actually monitor the entire week. I would monitor the collection times and days for each suburb, the municipality collection days for each suburb. Once I identified that, I would then allocate each suburb a day. So if I'm doing this suburb on a Monday, we would go on the Monday. We've got all the black refuse bags lined up on the road. We go there with my team of 2 people. We tear them apart, but neatly. Neatly, I can see some eyebrows there. We tear that apart. When we tear that apart, we're working as a team. We're pulling out all the recyclables, your milk bottles, your yogurt containers, your whatever you can think of, your ice cream containers, because my team knew exactly what we were looking for. We pull that out, and then we put it into our bags. While I've gone home to drop that off, they are carrying on, with the whole procedure right through the whole road or street. I'll drop off, come back, drop off, come back. Once we're done with the drops off from that particular suburb, we then move over to the scrapyards, because I had actually spoken to the scrapyards and said, I would like to actually take all of your car body parts, your bumpers, your door panels, your dashboard, that's all polyprop, PP. And some of them, were quite happy to give it to me for free, and some of them wanted compensation, which we did compensate them. So we did that. It was like a procedure now. We know Monday to Friday, this is what we are doing. We're pulling out all of this through the suburbs and the panel beating shops and stuff like that. On a Saturday and Sunday, that's when we are doing our sorting and separating. HD on its own, polyprop on its own, LD on its own, LLD on its own, PET on its own. Because obviously when you're going to sell, wherever you're selling, you can't just sell a mixed load. To get the value of the product, it's got to be sold as a certain grade. So that's Saturday and Sunday. So basically we're working Monday to Sunday. That's what we're doing. And that worked very, very well. And it took us, that went on for like almost a year. And now we got into a rhythm now. And it was very nice because we're enjoying it. We wake up in the morning, we know which suburb. And by that time, we had actually extended the suburb number to 10, from 6 to 10. And the scrap yards, and so it was just growing. So we got to the rhythm. My guys know exactly what to do. And they know the products. And we've got the client, the customer base as well. So we just got to the rhythm. Everything was just fine. And that carried on for like a year or so. And in that year, a lot happened. And I learned a lot, including patience, which is one of my weaknesses in life, patience. I learned it on that particular year. I also learned the importance of being able to read situations. Someone may not understand the statement, what I'm saying. Sometimes you gotta compromise certain things based on how the situation is. Forget what motivational speakers tell you. When someone disrespects you, you just put them into their place or you just walk away. You must never tolerate disrespect. I fully agree. I fully agree. But you gotta be able to read situations. There are times where you cannot tolerate it, where you have to walk away. There are times where you cannot do otherwise. Because that kind of disrespect that you have to tolerate is what will bring your next meal to the table. So to be able to read situations is one of the things that I learned. And look, I'm grateful for that 1 year. Fast forward again. Now, after 1 year, we doing very, very good, and the business is growing in the waste picking side. It's a Saturday afternoon. I remember exactly, it was a Saturday afternoon. But before I say this, I think it's worth saying this here that I really would appreciate if you give, and I'm talking from experience and from someone who's been there, if you do give waste pickers a little bit of respect. Waste pickers are at the lowest end of the chain. They do the hardest work. They are less appreciated, they are little respected, and they are taken advantage of. It's coming from someone who's been there. You would go to a store to pick up, and you meet this lady here. She phones you probably the following week and says, Sbu, the rubbish bin is full. Come empty it. You explain to this lady nicely, ma'am, it's not rubbish, it's waste. You think she's got it. The following week, she calls you again. That rubbish bin is full again. So that's where the whole thing of, being able to read situations comes from, because you cannot put her into a place. Because if you try and put her into a place, it's either she kicks you out of that site, she gets someone else. So you gotta kind of compromise and say, okay, maybe I need to take this because that's what's gonna bring me the next meal next time. So that's where this whole thing was coming from. So I think for me, it's worth mentioning that, please, when you see waste pickers coming from one, I still consider myself one, even though I've gone past that stage. I once was one, I will forever be one. I'm part of them. Never mind where I am, but I'm still part of them. But if you do see them, please, just give them a little bit of respect. They are working hard. And sometimes they get home with 100 rand that's sufficient for them to eat for the night. All I wanted to do at that point in time was to be able to put fuel on the car, pay my stuff, and eat on the night. That's all I wanted. I was never worried about what was next. Only when we started getting into the rhythm of things, then I started saving money to see, because money was starting to come in. But they earn very little, they get little respect. Now, fast forward again. I'm cautious of time. It's one Saturday. This is my big break coming through now. It's one Saturday. I remember we are sorting and separating. I get a visit from one of my old-time friends. His name is Msizi. He pulls in with the Ford Sierra. I can see some old generation here. They will know exactly what a Ford Sierra is. Yeah. He pulls in with the station wagon Ford Sierra. It's an old-time friend. He says to me, Sbu, I need your help. I say, yeah, go on, Msizi. He says, I bought this car from this white man. It's been 2 years. He's never given me the logbook for this car here. It's been 2 years. Okay, so what do you want me to help you with, Msizi? Sbu, I want you to help me. We need to get that logbook by all means necessary. You see, I'm no gangster. I'm not a violent man. I'm not an aggressive man either. But just use your imagination. If someone says or uses the phrase, by all means necessary, it tells you exactly what needs to be done. Now, I don't want to disappoint him. I say, okay. We jump into the car with my two guys. He jumps in as well so he can give us directions. We drive off to Drummond to see this man here. I must say, when we got there, I was just defeated at first sight, because we coming in there, I meet this man. He must have been close to 60 years old. It's an old man. Now, I can't be aggressive or violent on a 60-year-old man. Neither can I just raise my voice on that. That's not how I was raised. So I was defeated, number one, by the age. Number two, this guy is super nice to me. He's super nice to me. He talks too much. He makes it very impossible for me not to be friends with him. Now I've got Msizi looking at me there. I'm telling him, I've got this here. Relax, I've got this here. Because I know his intentions. I know what he wants me to do. So I talked to Barry. His name is Barry. I talked to Barry, and the logbook conversation, I tell you, it must have lasted about 5 minutes. It was over. He gave me a very satisfactory answer. I was more than happy. I was going to explain to Msizi on our way back what has happened because I couldn't carry on anymore. The explanation I got was 100%. Any sensible person would understand that. But at that point in time, because Barry talks too much, I couldn't get a chance to explain that to Msizi. So my plan at that point in time is, on our way back, then I will just explain it to him. So anyway, Barry asked me, Sbu, what do you do for a living? And I tell him, no, I'm a recycler. Well, specifically, I'm a waste picker. And I pick up HD, polyprop, PET, all of the products that I pick up. He says, have you ever considered moving on to the next stage of recycling? I said, well, I have, but at this point in time, the capital is limited. And yeah, in due time, I would love to. He says, come with me. He takes me to the back of his farm. He had this huge farm. He opens one of his warehouses. And he shows me a wash plant, the size, literally the size of this table. This was a complete wash plant, the size of this table. He says, well, this is a wash plant. I haven't used it for the past 5 years. You can see it's rusted. The bearings are, well, not falling apart, but they are no longer in good condition. He says, think about it. If you want it, you can have it. Just like that. You can have it. You can pay me 25 cents per kilogram of everything you sell for the next 6 months, or else, if you wish and you have money, you can buy it outright. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the rest is history. That's how I got my first wash plant. Basically, that's how I got it. Okay. It's important. It's important to mention that at that point in time, I understood why Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus. At that point in time, I understood. Yeah, because now Msizi is looking at me now for the logbook. I think Judas was a good man. I think he was just under pressure. Now I understand. He was under pressure. He did what he had to do. Now I understand that better. Fast forward again. I can see you time-wise. Fast forward again. So that's how we got our first wash plant, which we operated for almost 1 full year, and we're doing very well. 1.5 years later, I got my first 1.7 million rand brand new wash plant from China, which was subsidized, or rather funded by CIFA at that point in time, because at that point in time, the word was going out. There's this black guy. And I like it when they say black guy, because it makes me the only one, like the unique one. So there was this black guy now with a wash plant. So, I was gaining a little bit of popularity. So CIFA came through, they knocked and they said, okay, we'll fund you. I got my first wash plant. 2 years later, I bought my second wash plant. And I'm extremely working hard right now to get my third wash plant before end of the year. We are currently doing about 100 tons of post-consumer waste, about 50 tons of post-industrial. And my intention is to do at least 300 tons before end of this year. And we have a staff complement of about 80 permanent employees, about 300 to 500 people on the social and community-based project that I'm working with through Polyco. And lastly, I'm very cautious of your time. And lastly, I don't think I'll be doing justice if I don't thank these 4 people. Number 1, Barry, the very first guy who gave me the big break, even though I betrayed him, Msizi. He'll understand. In fact, he came in to do some plumbing for me at some time. So at least he got something out of that. There is a man called Chris White. That man has supported me through thick and thin. I've put him in through trouble. He never gives up on me. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Chris White. My mentor, Barry Smith, he's been with me from day one. And lastly, Polyco. I'm like a little child to Polyco. I'm sure some of you are familiar with Polyco. I'm like a little child to Polyco. I get naughty, they spank me. They never give up on me. I come back to them. Without them, again, I don't think I would be where I am. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. And I just hope next time when you see waste pickers, you give them a little bit of respect. Oh.
Sure.